Hey there, this is Miss Jordan, your career development coordinator, and why don't we talk about resumes today? You are going to hear a lot about resumes from your English teacher. You're going to hear about it from me because this is a document that is something that is ongoing throughout your professional career and it starts somewhere. So you have done more in high school than you think you have in order to build a very impressive resume to show to an employer one day, especially if you decide to work part-time or even full-time upon graduation. So let's first talk about what a resume is. It is indeed a formal document, and it is a summary of your experiences or your qualifications that would make you look very attractive to an employer. An employer is the company or organization who is seeking the ideal candidate to work for them. And you would be a potential candidate for employment or an employee. Okay? So that's what a resume is. Now we're going to, have sessions with you. Your teachers are as well, where they're going to show you how to construct a resume based on some desired formats and fonts and the things that employers like or things that they get annoyed by when you do a resume. But I'm just going to talk about certain things that you need to think about in constructing your resume. So the first thing I would say are soft skills. You hear that sometimes. What does that really mean? Well, soft skills are kind of like traits or skills, okay, that employers would say are important, things that they think are important when they are hiring an ideal candidate. So things, when you hear people say critical thinking, your ability to solve problems and think about things in a big picture kind of way instead of just, the minute, insignificant things. If they say that you are excellent at computing or calculating things. If you work part-time in retail at a store or at even a restaurant, you may have to count money. And it is very important if you have to count change back for someone that you know how to count effortlessly. So that is a valuable skill these days, right? Sometimes technology makes us a little too comfortable. So we need to still build those skills to be able to compute. Your grammar and your spelling, I can't say it enough. Employers are telling us, in the world of texting, which is, I do it as well, okay? We have to shift gears when we go to business communication, company-oriented communication. Texting with no punctuation, no capital letters, the verbs are being sliced and diced, things like that, emojis and carrying on. These are things that are usually unacceptable in a business setting. And so we have to think about, how is my grammar? How is my spelling? Do I have math skills? Things that employers want. They like the fact that you might be able to have interpersonal skills, your ability to speak and communicate with others on any managerial level. That is an impressive thing that employers like. So those are kind of what we call soft skills, okay? The things that are attractive and impressive to employers about you, right? Let's now shift gears and talk about character traits. There are some things that I would say, these are words that you would use to describe you in a positive way if you're being interviewed, which is another thing we're going to do this year. And an employer says, so what do you think your main character traits are? Remember that it means, what are some things about me that come pretty naturally, but that would show me in a positive light? Here are some examples. Are you an honest person? Is a good example. Are you cooperative with others? Are you flexible when it comes to change that occurs, which over the past few years, things have changed and we have definitely, had to respond. Are you a reliable person? These are just things that are positive that you can speak to in an interview, or if there's any opportunity on any sort of application or resume format, you can put that in. Now let's talk about action verbs for a second. When you are building your resume, here's some helpful hints with how you write them. Now, mind you, people rewrite their resumes several times. They seek guidance. They do research. I recommend all of those things because the first time you write it, it may not be perfect, but it's a great start. But you want to build and polish it and keep on going. So action verbs are verbs that are used to show more of a results-oriented approach to what you did, okay? So if you led a project, not just assisted with a project or was on a project, you led it if you were a leader. If you designed something in the lab, in some capacity, if you designed something, that is different from you worked on it, okay? If you increased the amount of sales that your team fundraiser committee achieved, if you were responsible in some way for increasing those sales, and then you put what amount, by what percent, by what dollar amount, in what amount of time, maybe it was in less time than the last project. These are action verbs that can make you look very strong on paper. What employers will do is look at you on paper, size you up, and they decide if we're going to call this person in to talk to them a little bit more. We're interested. We're intrigued, right? If you persuaded or influenced a team or a manager or someone, that is a very strong word on a resume. So these are things, I want to share this bit of advice that I was given by a recruiter who was interviewing me in graduate school, okay? I was looking for a summer internship, and I was getting frustrated because I wasn't understanding how to really interview. I was trying to learn how to sell my best, attributes and traits and stuff. And it appears that this one recruiter liked something about me, right? And I didn't know it at the time. So I interviewed and did all this stuff, and she pulled me aside and she said, listen, because I guess one of my answers to the question, it just was rooted in frustration, okay, in a sort of a way. And she pulled me aside, thankfully, and she said to me, when we come here for candidates for summer employment or internships, there are certain things that we look for. What you have to, and we called you in, Miss Jordan, for an interview, round 1 or round 2, whatever it was. She said, you have to figure out what it is that we like about you as to why we brought you in, and you just focus on those things and reiterate your strengths based on what you know we want, but also based on what you think we like. When she told me that, it turned my whole world around with interviewing and, looked at my resume again and beefed it up, and stuff. And I never forgot that advice. So consider that to be a gem from someone whose job was to hire people. I cannot tell you how many times, and I never saw that person again. I wouldn't know them if they walked up to me right now, but I never forgot what this woman said to me. So I'm sharing that with you. So soft skills, right? We talked about that, and those are the ones that employers want to see. Character traits are the things that make you look positive. Action verbs are those strong verbs that you can use to sell your accomplishments on paper. And then if you are a high school student, let me share this with you. The types of things, you may not have a lot of job experience. Not all high school students have part-time jobs, right? But if you volunteer, you can put that on a resume, right? That's still hours of work and service that require skills and abilities to do. If you did work part-time, put that on there and be specific as the contributions you made to that company or business. If you had honors, awards, if your grades are strong, if you scored a very amazingly high score on some sort of aptitude test or something like that, that is noteworthy. If you have gotten certifications and credentials from your high school, like, Microsoft Word certification or Safe Serve certification in culinary world, and right? If you have the customer service certification from the National Retail Federation, put that stuff on there. If you earned a scholarship, that is an honor, an award, an achievement. Put it on there. If you have a 4.0 all A's honor courses, AP courses, right? All of those things as a high school student look really great on a resume that you may be asked to provide, not only for employment, but sometimes as part of a college application, as part of some sort of alternate job category application. So just be mindful. The resume follows you. The resume is a start, and you build upon it over time as you gain more meaningful experience. Know that it's okay to change it. Always look for ways to beef it up, and know that this is your paper version of who you are for employers to want you to work for them and add value to their organization. So that's what I'll share with you today. Again, this is Pamela Jordan, your career development coordinator. And I hope that these helpful tips with starting out with your resume development were helpful. Have a good day.